how to find the best gaming monitor with my gaming monitor reviews. Awesome guys for tuning in. Today I'm going to review a monitor from Thomson that has an IPS panel and a whopping 180 Hertz and is also very affordable. And guys, how nice is that? The prices have come down for monitors with high frame rates and IPS panels. And one thing I noticed about this Thomson monitor right when I was unboxing it is the really nice RGB effects on the back, where you can also switch through different colored effects and patterns. That's very nice. However, what should you consider, for example, when it comes to your graphics cards? I'm going to do a little bit of an FPS test with this monitor with an older graphics card and compare it against a newer graphics card so that you have an idea what hardware requirements you should consider when buying a high frame rate monitor. And how exciting is that? I'm always super happy to have these monitors here on my desk. Big shout out to Thomson for giving me this sample to test out. As always, all opinions are my own, and I'm giving you some general advice, monitor purchasing advice as well in this video. So I'm taking this out of the box. Usually it's a little bit easier to do this together, but very nice colorful packaging here. The power supply with this model is an external unit. We also have a HDMI cable. My recommendation is maybe pick up a DisplayPort cable as well. And here we have a USB. And yeah, monitor arm, just take the styrofoam package here, put this to the side. That's always very easy and quickly done. You just clip that into place and have this bottom plate. Sometimes it can be useful to use a screwdriver, but here that was very easy to do by hand. And guys, that's literally how easy it is. Nice looking monitor. Let's do as well a quick height adjustment test. That's also not some affordable monitors, they don't have that feature, but here it's really good. It's height adjustable. You can move it to the left and to the right. And yeah, the color effects also a big highlight of this monitor. Terrific guys. Now let's have a closer look at this brand new release from Thomson, the 720-inch QHD gaming monitor at a really affordable price point. And what should you consider, or what can you consider when purchasing a monitor? Of course, it's the panel types. The twisted pneumatics I don't have on my desk that often, but what I do normally have is a lot of VA panels, the vertical alignment, and when I always like to say I'm an IPS in-plane switching monitor fan, and that's exactly what this Thomson has right here. And what can be a benefit of in-plane switching? Of course, it can be a better viewing angle stability and hence also the colors. Because if you have a stable viewing angle, the colors look, even if you look a little bit from up top, look very stable also at the bottom. That's how it should be. And second thing to consider is the monitor sizes and aspect ratios. As you might know, this is a 16:9, which is now the de facto standard. You know, you remember in the old TV days, monitors were like a square. Now it's all in 16:9 aspect ratio, and you can see the aspect ratios right here. I also like to do ultra wides, the 21:9s. I did an AOC recently, an AOC gaming monitor that had a VA panel that was the CU34G2XP. Also very interesting product. However, if you see right here, 27-inch versus 34-inch, I think 27 is what most people take. If that were a 34-inch monitor, you would have extra space here, and you would also have extra space here. So the monitor would be wider, which has some advantages, has some disadvantages, which I will be pointing out to you in a second as well. So to summarize this aspect ratio thing, what is the best aspect ratio? Of course, the most popular is the 16:9. That's what the most users get. It's good for surfing the web, being on YouTube, and for gaming every now and then. And there's also the 21:9, which gives you the extra space, like I mentioned. It's a little bit more immersive in gaming because you have that extra space, and also could potentially be interesting for people who work with multiple documents, for example. Now, doing a quick FPS test and talking a little bit about hardware requirements. Yes, the Thomson is a very affordable monitor that gives you a lot of benefits. However, don't forget your hardware. In my case, this is my example computer that I usually test with. It's still an AM4 system, 30 gigs of RAM, and I'm normally running an NVIDIA RTX 4070 in there, which is a fairly powerful card. Maybe in that combo a little bit slightly CPU bottlenecked, but not too much. And what I did for this example, I just popped in my old graphics card as an example, and we do some FPS comparisons between the NVIDIA RTX 4070 and the RX 580. Because when you play different games, you play older titles or you play newer titles, you change the graphics settings, you change how many frames you want to run this monitor at, that significantly impacts the choice of your CPU and the graphics card that you need to run the system. So as a comparison, I played the very same game on a bigger monitor with more pixels with the RTX 4070, and I got a stable 180 FPS. Here I put in my old graphics card and I'm getting on average, I'm not sure how well you can see that, I'm getting about 120 FPS. Which, considering how old the AMD RX 580 graphics card is, I would say that's not even too bad. You have the occasional dip to 110, but you already see, even playing a not so modern game like Titanfall, if you want to have the full FPS, you really have to have a little bit more modern graphics card than, let's say, a 580. So I'd say a RTX 4060 or 70 would be perfect for that. And quickly also starting another popular title, the Cyberpunk game, which is very demanding on your hardware. I'm thinking I'm getting much lower FPS. I think the graphics settings right now are on medium, and I'm only getting about 43 FPS from my graphics card. Guys, this is not a limitation of the monitor. I just want to show you the extreme examples. For example, I tested the same also with the NVIDIA RTX 4070, which is a significantly more modern card. And I had the settings quite high with medium retracing and everything. And I got in frame generation, and I got 95 FPS. Here I'm only getting on a smaller monitor with reduced settings. I'm getting only half, less than half. So please don't underestimate the hardware requirements that a high frame rate monitor can put onto you, especially if you like to play high frame rates in very high graphic settings. That's demanding, and I really wanted to point that out. To get the most out of games like that, you want to have a reasonably modern system with as powerful as possible graphics card, because in some cases you might even, you know, if it's a, like, let's say that would be a 4K monitor, then you definitely would need an RTX 4070 or probably even an RTX 4080 on a modern AM5 system, and that can increase the cost of your overall system. So keep that in mind when making purchase considerations. Terrific! This concludes the review of the Thomson gaming monitor, and so far I really like this. It's a really good price value monitor if you consider your graphics card. And as I have shown you with the 16:9 Thomson monitor, I had 120 FPS in Titanfall with the old graphics card and 45 FPS with the old graphics card in Cyberpunk, as respectively when using the 21:9 ultra wide monitor with the more powerful RTX 4070 from NVIDIA. I got the full 180 FPS with that more powerful graphics card, and a 95 FPS in Cyberpunk with really high settings. And really, guys, this illustrates very well that yes, you can go out and buy a really affordable price value monitor like this Thomson gaming monitor. That's a terrific value. However, don't underestimate that in certain games, especially newer ones with high graphics settings, you really want to make sure your graphics card is up to par to deliver these high frame rates. Two small pieces that I would recommend, maybe that could have a little bit of an improvement, is one in the on-screen menu. When you adjust the brightness, I noticed I can adjust the brightness down, that's fine, but as soon as I adjust the brightness up again, there's always like energy conservation, uses more energy kind of notice. I find that a little bit unnecessary. I wish they would have, they could have maybe do a firmware update of the monitor so that I don't always have to click through that message. And a second piece of that I would wish the monitor had, of course, this is just minor things. I'm a little bit picky. With the BenQs that I reviewed in the past and also with the AOCs, they usually have a monitor control software where you don't even have to go into the on-screen menu because you can just do it via the software. And that's, to me, a little bit more convenient. So that may be a nice thing if Thomson would have the ability to add that in the future. I think that would add even more value to the customer. But overall, I give this monitor a good rating, a good price value rating. So guys, let me know what other monitors you want to see. I'm happy you're here, and yeah, stay awesome, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.